Let me turn to Calvin Dark. He's the principal and co-founder of RC Communications. Calvin, welcome to our program. So how significant is this that Italy is the first G7 major economy to join the Belt and Road?
I think it's very significant, and I think that you can see the fear and nervousness with the other EU leaders.
Why?
Because they, especially President Macron, has said that the EU has to have a strategy of collective how they're going to respond to China. And they haven't defined that yet. So in the meantime, you've got individual countries pursuing bilateral agreements. And if that goes on too long before the EU decides what the collective strategy is going to be, it'll be a moot issue.
What does Italy hope to gain here? I mean, Michal talked about some of the ports, infrastructure projects for Palermo, but in general, and why now?
Well, I think in general, they want to make sure they protect Italian businesses. But interestingly, as I talk to friends of mine who are in Italy and in Europe, a lot of this has to do with President Trump. And for two reasons. One is the EU is not clear of what the U.S. support would be economically. So before Trump administration, it would have been harder because it would have been seen as going against the U.S. trade-wise. That's one reason. Second reason is this. If you look at what the opposition leaders said in Italy about this agreement, they even said, well, it's good because I think it was the Minister of Interior that said, when you put your country first, as I've heard some politicians say, it works out better. So they're copying the America First model. When they realize now the U.S. isn't such a steadfast partner, they might as well look out for their own interests, which is Donald Trump's strategy.
And of course, Italy's economy is not exactly booming. I mean, they've been in and out of recession repeatedly. So in terms of Italy's economy, this could be a big boost.
It could be a big boost. And, you know, most economists warn Italy about the whole debt situation, that they would put themselves in a position with debt with China, and then that would affect their obligations with the EU. But the Italian officials have assured that they've worked that out. Now, that remains to be seen, given their economy now, if they're going to be able to manage that.
So what does China have to gain here?
Well, I think China has a lot to gain because they are looking to broaden the spheres of influence that they have. You know, infrastructure, technology, even tourism to some extent with a lot of countries in Europe. So I think it's very smart on the Chinese side. It also gives them incredible leverage with the United States now, as they're in talks to how to try to end this trade dispute that the U.S. is having with China.
As you mentioned, this is also kind of a political divisive issue within Italian politics. Do you feel other European nations would perhaps follow Italy's example? I mean, once one country sometimes starts something, that's the hardest. Other ones in the region, EU nations, do you get a sense they might follow suit?
I think they would. And when you're asking what would be the benefits to the Italian economy, I think that if there are benefits shown in the beginning very quickly, that's going to make some of the smaller European countries to say, if we're not getting what we want, all that we want out of the EU, why not do a bilateral relationship with China? It's no doubt that China is already a huge trading partner. Now, of course, that's going to make France and Germany and some of the other bigger powers nervous, because the more that eats away at the support, then there's not going to be an EU strategy toward China.
All right, we'll leave it there. Calvin Dark, thank you so much.
Thank you.